So here's the cool thing is that we just show up as we are. I'm feeling a little like, I don't know where my brain is today. I feel like I need to go pick it up or something. And this is just how we show up in life, right? And our homeschool and in our days is we just have to show up how we are and where we are and honor that, right? So sorry if I feel a little spacey today. I am a little spacey today. But yeah, so I think all of us here, I mean, I kind of know a little bit about you all now. Do we all have businesses that we run from home? Put your hands up. Put your hands up. No? Yes. Ashley? No? Okay.
You work from home, right, Ashley?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. So you work from home. So yeah, that's the big thing, right? Is how do we balance working from home and educating our kids, right? When they're here. The great thing about the current world events is that it's softened a lot of illusions about how we can't do all the things that we want to do or where kids are supposed to be, or if you're working from home, sometimes, our kids are there, right? There used to be this idea that to be a business person, you can't have noises in the background while you're working, or it has to be a certain way. I'm sitting in my bed. This is the best place in my house for me to take business calls, And the way the world has changed is it's opened people's mind and softens people's hearts about, well, you know what, those are parts of life. And when they're in the space and the environment, that's okay, because we all have life that happens around us and through us as we move about our day. And I found that with clients, there's now, their kids are also in the background sometimes, and we all just sort of know that and hold that space. And at the same time, I work better when my kids aren't in my space and I don't hear their voices. I have a bit of a clearer mind. So a lot of it, I find, is setting up expectations and boundaries with them before I go into a workspace. And so that's our first piece of what we wanted to chat with is, what does that look like and what can that look like in your house? It's going to depend a bit about what your business is and what kind of environments that you need set up. But the first thing is to be really clear when you're going into work mode with your kids about what you need and then what you expect them to be doing or behaving in a way during that time. Oh, hey, Kelly, thanks for popping on. So we're just talking about setting up our dialogue with our kids as we're going into work time, and we know, okay, we need 30 minutes of quiet time because I have to write right now or call a client right now or do paperwork right now. Being really clear with their kids about what our needs are, because they can't guess our needs. They can't, if we totally need quiet, we need to be very clear and say, at this time, I need quiet. What can we do to engage you during that time? Hey guys in the background. Do you want to pop in and add any bit to this part, Nikki?
Yeah, so as you were talking, I was kind of thinking through more so for like Ashley or people who are working at a job, being
okay, your internet connection is now.
What?
Hey, Nikki, we can't hear you.
Why did you do that, baby?
And then
why is it called this?
Okay, don't do any more of that.
Out in small increments so that you can have a small amount of time.
Nikki.
And when the kids stop quiet, I would not shake them around and leave a fence around.
What's that? Nikki? Are all of you, put your thumbs up if y'all are still good. Good, good. So just Nikki was having the problem? Oh,
Yeah,
you're
it's
down?
fine.
Okay, Jenny is thumbs down, Jenny. Okay, Nikki, are you there?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we didn't hear anything you said.
Awesome.
and so this happens too as we're working from home, right? And everyone's working on technologies now, and so then you just gotta have space to breathe it in and breathe it out, you know, and go, okay, well that happened.
Okay, so you didn't hear a word.
No, but share your brilliance. I want to hear it.
Now I don't even remember what you're saying. So as you were talking, things were coming up, like being in communication, obviously, with your kids about how much quiet time you need. Being in communication with your employer, let's say if you're in Ashley's position and you are employed, you know, letting them know that you have your kids home and that you're gonna be
So I think
out
she's like not even paying attention.
When
I'm mute,
when
Nikki.
you're in a call or don't need absolute silence for kids, to allow that space to
Okay, so sorry guys. I think she's in a basement. I think her office is in the basement. But I think what she was saying, right, if you're in a different situation, Ashley, is to go in and then, you know, sort of design your what your employer's expectations are, and to let them know that you've got kids there and that sort of thing. It is pretty different, right? Because we're all in completely different situations about what our work situation is, right? And so I want us to all be able to speak into that too, to be really clear, to say in this conversation, so we can get ideas specific to what you might need. The other thing was, as we, Nikki had some things that she wanted to talk about setting up ideas and different tools and engagements that we can use. But one of the things that I found important was also creating space with the kids. If I'm not very clear on my boundaries and I say, you know, I need quiet time right now, but in my head, I have a list of the things that they can't do. If I haven't expressed that to them, I don't feel like I have the right to then come out and then yell at them or berate them afterwards for doing those things. Like if they know that mom needs quiet time and they think, okay, well, she's not paying attention, I'm just going to sneak onto this device and I'm going to go watch some TV or something like that. Well, ultimately they gave me quiet time though, right? Which is the main thing I needed. So if I don't set up those expectations about, you know, these are the things you can do and these are the things that I don't want you to do, then I have to realize that, okay, you know, I wasn't clear enough, or to say they did give me my ultimate thing, which is I needed quiet, right? So then to honor that piece and to say, well, thank you for giving me that and finding a way to entertain yourself. We're not burning down the house, not flooding the house, not screaming and yelling. Everybody is safe. And so it's sort of this back and forth and tug and pull about meeting everyone's expectations. Since Nikki isn't here, why don't we just go ahead and, because I know she had some pieces to speak about, but do you want to speak into what your work situation is like? And maybe we can support each other in that way with what you've got going on. Anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought I was muted.
I think she did mute you, but then when she went out, maybe it unmuted you.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like my biggest challenge right now, because I I'm afraid to tell my employer I'm choosing to homeschool. I'm kind of thinking that maybe I can get away with them thinking we're doing the remote learning, even though we're not, because I can't lose my job. Well, I really hope I don't lose my job. So yeah, I'm just trying to kind of figure out, like, when things come up, or when there's, sometimes they'll just be like, okay, you have to do this training or webinar, or this is a meeting, and I can't plan, basically. I just have to have this constant fluid flexibility each day. I mean, I can plan out expectations of what I want to get done, but then as far as how it's going to look, I'm just nervous if that's not consistent for the kids, if how they'll do with that.
How old are your kids?
So almost 6, just turned 8, and almost 10.
Okay. Those are about the same age as mine are. Mine are 5, 8, and almost 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully that works now. So Ashley, I mean, either way, whether you're whether you're homeschooling, home educating, or doing the e-learning, I think that asking your employer for a little bit more structure, saying, look, like, even if I could get the times that I need to be on the computer, the morning of work, that would help me out a ton. And they have to understand that that having kids home, they're going to have to at least give you a little bit more of notice when meetings are happening. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I understand what you're saying. And maybe because now the schools officially are closed.
Yeah.
They are, yeah, well, at least in Pueblo. So they're closed they're doing distant learning, but it's just for the first 4 weeks. And then they're going to reevaluate again. So actually today I officially have taken my kids out of school, which is so strange. But a big part of my work is helping all of the children in monolingual families in Pueblo now learn somehow. So that's another part of my job. My job is very overwhelming. Like it carries heavy on me. I like that kind of work. I've always done that kind of work, but now I'm like, okay, I need to, I can only be so much. And now I'm so excited I'm so excited to plan their school year, but that's the teacher in me. Like, I'm just super excited. Like the unit studies and like the book. Oh, it's just so exciting. But then I also have just this big responsibility with this whole community. I'm a community organizer, like this whole group of people who are going to be so left behind. So anyways, I'm rambling now. That's kind of like a side note, but I'm hoping because the schools are closed that, yeah, maybe they will be more understanding of like, listen, from 9 to 1 every day I'm not available, but I just don't want to be too forward. And then for some reason I just don't want to lose. We cannot lose. We can't afford for me to lose my job.
Yeah. I hear all that, and thanks for saying all that. And I think the world has changed so much recently, and we're all in this space of work, kids, where is everyone going? What is everyone doing? That almost everyone with kids is in some sort of situation like what you're in, even if they're still doing like a hybrid school thing or not, that for at least right now, you're in this play zone, where it can just sort of be, you just play with it and tiptoe, because any employer that they have that has kids would be in this, right? And then at 4 weeks, then you've kind of worked through what some of it might be like, what some of it might feel like, where you can engage them, right? So then when you're like, well, okay, I'm not really going to put them back in public school, you've kind of got some strategies in place that you might feel very different in 8 weeks from now, right? That would be about 8 weeks from now, right? Because we're still in summer. And you might, so your questions about, well, how do I approach this with my employer? You're probably gonna have a lot more insight about that right now, right?
Right.
Because right now there's no choice. School's closed.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
And I think learning how to just, because I haven't been in charge of my children's education, I've left that to the school. So I can do my work full-heartedly. Like I can give everything to my work, but now I'm going to have to set different boundaries, or it's going to be too much for me to take on.
Yeah. So you've got two different pieces from what I'm hearing is how do I approach this with work? And then within myself, how do I give my energies to my job I love and my children whom I love, and something I'm also really excited about doing with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I share a little bit on some of this for you? So I don't personally work from home, but my husband is a glass blower and he owns his own business, and he works from home and he's home all the time, which is its own problem sometimes in homeschooling. But one thing that we have found that works really well, and you can call it whatever you want. We call it a block. And every now and then, like if he has something he has to focus on, he can't be interrupted, then we pretty much make a big announcement to everybody. In 10 minutes, Dad's going into a block. Make sure you have everything you need from him, because once he goes into his block, you can't interrupt him for anything except for the worst emergencies. And we put a little like stop sign on his door, you know, like to the garage, and it's just like, don't go in there for anything. And we make like a really big deal out of it. I mean, not a really big deal, but just enough so that they take it seriously, because we're very whimsical, fun family. And sometimes it's like lost in translation. And then another thing that we do is I make kind of a routine for the day, but then I give the kids a lot of flexibility within the routine. So like, I don't know, just for an example, like it says, wake up, get dressed, and get ready for a great day. And that's kind of on them. They find their own food in the mornings. They get themselves dressed. Like, this is what they have to do, and they do it. And then we have kind of a cuddle time where we do reading and writing. And then I say, okay, now it's math or science history. And like, you pick. If it's a work day, we might do our curriculums. Or if it's an off day, then they can do whatever math and science history kind of stuff that they can find and want to do. Like maybe it's Prodigy or building a marble run yesterday or whatever. But I just try and give them a little bit of direction. Go find something math to do, you know, like find a math game or a math website or whatever. And then we'll have lunch, and then whatever we did earlier, math or science history, then do the other one after lunch for a while. And I mean, that can be draw a picture of what we're doing in Curiosity Chronicles, or go on Minecraft and build a pyramid or something if I'm in the mood to give out screen time or whatever, you know, if you've earned it. And I just create these boundaries, and I've kind of been posting some on Instagram that I give to the kids so that they know where the boundaries are, but they still have room to move and choose in between and among them. You know what I mean? And I kind of feel like it gives our day a little bit more flow and some like anchor points to like check in, like at lunchtime or in between shifting, like, okay, let's clean up all of these marbles that are running everywhere from the marble run and talk about what we're going to do next. And then we have that little discussion, and I kind of get them, make sure they're steered in the right direction. And then I'm like, all right, good. I know I have like 20 or 30 minutes while they're engaged in it. And because they got to choose it, they're more like focused on it a lot of times. I mean, obviously there's always times where none of this works and it's all just like, you know, whatever. But this is what we try to do. And for the most part, it works really well, especially if you kind of like outline it and you're consistent with it. So like, I don't know, I probably showed you before, but I have like my screen time pyramid, and I have that just so that they know, like, you know, if it's the bottom of the pyramid, like lessons or reading books, like you can pretty much do that all the time and I don't care. But the more things that we limit, like that's what you're working towards through the day. And then at the end of the day, I give them a free hour. And if they've done like all the things they're supposed to do, like keep control of their mind and body, you know, like remember to eat and not have a fit and break down over something silly, and like do a little reading and play a little bit, then I give them like an hour to pretty much do whatever you want. And if you want to spend your hour watching Gamer Girl play Minecraft, okay, like I see so little value in it and I can't stand it, but that's what she likes. And so I'm trying to make space for her to have it for a little while. And so when I do the work that I do, which is pretty much just like kind of adding to website and helping friends and people with homeschooling like this and things like that, I just try and like get it into these chunks. And because I kind of know when we're going to be shifting gears, I kind of can aim for different times and know like, all right, we're doing pretty good today, and I think we're going to watch a documentary this afternoon, so that'll be around 2, and so I'm going to get like 2 hours right there. Something
So
like that, you know?
what I think I hear you saying, and to try and bring that to this topic to get clarification, is that in your chunks of time, you've really allowed space for them to have, you kind of set up these chunks of times of what the energy is or the education is, and they're learning a lot of self-direction in those chunks of time. Mm-hmm. So as they're self-directing their own projects and stuff, then you are able to kind of step back and go, okay, now I can go do my creation time, my work time, my personal time. Is that kind of what you're...
Yeah, like right when this call started, I was on my phone because we were finishing up math. So I just kind of had it over here. And now we're done with math and reading. She does independently right now on Reading Eggs. She just like, it's like game based. So she just does it on her own. And so I stepped away because I know she's fine plugging away through that. And Jake is doing like Con Kids right now, which is another acceptable screen time. And so
yeah, that's
I
awesome.
stepped away and I let them do that. So
It's important to, and age definitely comes into play here, but as they learn to sort of self-direct themselves, then it does give us that ability to sort of step back and then do other things when they can kind of go, oh, you know what, I can go do these. I don't have to have someone sit down and play. I've got one kid who really wants you to play with her all the time. She doesn't like independent time. And then
your youngest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially as the bigger two team up and the bigger two go play together, and then she's all like, oh, great, thanks, I'm left out.
Yeah.
Another tool is to find those projects that you are doing, or whether it's a project, art project or history project, whether it's a unit study or lap book, or if it's an online curriculum that is that they can do really independently, and save those for time you specifically need to be away. So I posted earlier a couple days ago in the group the idea of finding some podcasts or audiobooks that your kids really like. And so when I have time to be engaged with them, that's not the time I'm going to use that tool, because I really need that to be an anchor point for me to go, okay, I can put this on and that's when I can step away. Or my kids really love to play Prodigy online and they're really engaged with that. So if I can use that as my tool to step away, then I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for when I need that, right? So what are the tools? I don't know if Nikki, you can step in here if your internet is working good. I know you had some really great ideas about that too. It's about saying, these are the things we know that I need to be engaged on. And then here's our stack of stuff. My kids love to do handwork, and some of it they need adult supervision and some of it they don't. And then so we sort of, it's kind of like the idea of morning baskets in a way. Do you know what morning baskets are? And so but it's sort of my independent basket. It's my little ideas of like, okay, they don't need me for this, so I'm going to keep it there and use it at my greatest time.
Yeah, so this kind of, I think, plays into a topic that we wanted to talk about, was padding it forward. Did you talk about that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So yes, I love all of these tools, like giving your kids the space to use the certain tools or certain, whether it's screen time or whatever, and allowing them to choose those times, but really padding it forward. So when you have the time, like let's say you have a meeting at 1:00, spending an hour before that or 30 minutes before that deciding, figuring this out with your kids, and really giving them focused time before you need time to be on your own. This has been a total game changer for me. If I give my girls complete focused attention, I can get so much more time to myself afterwards, because it's like their cup is filled up. And at sometimes they're like, my cup is running over, go away.
Yeah.
I'm just like, go do your thing, right? Give them so much attention. And then, setting the expectation of, I'm going to be done at this time, either setting a timer or if they can tell time, right? And allowing them. And then they know that when you get done, you put your stuff away and you give them that attention again, so that they can get their cup filled up again. And as you do this, they become more aware that that's going to happen before and after. And so they're totally okay with you stepping away. I'd also like to bring in a little bit more or topics from the past. A lot of this is going to come from deschooling and from your why. Like Jenna brought up last week, kids who were in public school, they expect to be entertained the entire time they're there. And so by deschooling and giving them that space to realize we're shifting into something different. My days are going to look different now, and really working with them and working through that with them, sharing with them, you know what, this is new for me, just like it's new for you, but we are going to create what we want that works best for all of us. Going back to your why, right? We are going to create this together. There's going to be bumps in the road, but this is what we are creating, a fun environment where mommy can get her work done during the day, and where we can learn, and where mommy can spend time with you, where we can learn fun things. And so I also, since my internet's working, I'm just going to keep talking for a minute, bringing back those vision boards as well. They can kind of be used as a reward. Again, like I talked about with my business is a little bit different. Like I have goals that I'm setting, but even if you're working for an employer, you can set your own either daily goals or weekly goals with your kids. And so when you reach, so you can create a vision board of little things to big things, to where on a daily basis, if they want extra screen time, or if they want to go for a walk with just mommy after the workday is done, or whatever that looks like they can create that vision board. And when you can remind them before you need that quiet time, pull out your vision boards. This is what we're working towards, right? This is what you want. So when mommy has her alone time to work, this is what's coming up for you, right? This is what we all get rewarded with. I mean, all the way up to family vacations and stuff like that. So I think that's it.
With the padding it forward thing, my kids, I have a pretty set schedule at the moment, and my kids look really forward to that, because they know that they're going to get to play Prodigy or whatever on their devices, and or they have D&D time with dad, because he'll come down from the office. My husband also works from home full time, and he might come down from the office, and they're like, "Are you on your call yet? Are you taking your call yet? Is it time yet? Oh no, 10 more minutes. Okay, and then I'll come out sometimes. I have some days that I work for 4 hours straight, and I'll come out between phone calls, and they know between each call, like who my next person is that I talk to, and they'll, check in or whatever, but they've come to really like that and expect that, because they now know that their special time that they like is during that time too. But it is especially important I think, to sort of fill that emotional bank of connectivity beforehand, especially for the younger ones, actually for all of them. But, when they feel seen and heard, connected, then they can kind of step away again. And it doesn't feel like an abandonment thing, like, oh, I've been home alone all day, right? When you're really just in the other room or something. And then if it's something that I don't have to be away from them for, I'll actually bring my laptop out and sit with them. If they're doing artwork or book work or reading work or, handwork, if it's something that I can do mentally with chatter around me, I'll be right there with them. So I'm not always having to be away. And then that way they don't feel alone, and I can kind of see what they're doing. And so there's that too, depending on what exactly your job is and what the needs are of your business. Did anyone have a question or thought or want to speak into what your work is like? And maybe we can chat about that. Yeah, Jenny.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this. I think I that was so useful. Like everything that you guys say, it's like, oh yeah, I know that, but it's so great to hear it. So thank you.
Hear it is a great reminder.
Yeah, it's just really good to have somebody else say what what you're thinking in your head, solidify it. So I think I'm completely on the other end of the spectrum. I have no schedule. I have no routine. My kids I have the twins, just as a quick reminder, that are probably a little too young to actually have a homeschooling routine or schedule. They're 3, and then I have my daughter into kindergarten. So I don't have any kind of schedule whatsoever, and I'm wondering how you start from ground zero. Like, I know I totally get that it's going to be a learning process for everybody, and you just kind of have to, when is she going to be the most focused, and between 2 and 4, or between 10 and noon, or how does that work? But I don't know, any kind of.
Do you want a schedule? Because you don't have to. I mean, if you do want one.
Well, the reason that I would need a schedule is because I do have my own business, and I try desperately to get work done, but I'm in a kind of the beginning stages of it. I don't have clients that are depending on me to talk with them like every day. I don't lead anybody. I'm not a manager or anything like that. So it's really just a time. I need to be better at time management, I think.
If you want to be, right? Like we also have to put expectations on us if that's not what we want or what doesn't work for us, right? So I know a lot of people that get up early. They're like, I get up 2 hours before my kids get up and I work, and I'm like, oh, bless your heart. I love sleep. That's not going to work for me. Like that doesn't work for me. So I don't do it. You know what I mean? So you got to do what works for you and for your family. And so that's an idea, is that, if you're like, well, I have to get these email out and create this content and write this thing or do this video, I'm going to do it for the 2 hours before they get up. Or if your kids go to bed at a certain time, they go to bed at 7 or 8 or 9, and you've got time afterwards, and you do it at night. So they use those chunks of time. And if that doesn't work for you, then what are you doing in your work? Can you do it like while they're playing? Can you do it with them? Do you need quiet time?
Yeah, totally. I love what you said about, filling up their cup before I need my own time, and then after. So yeah, I do a lot of content creation online. That's pretty much what I'm doing. So, so I guess to hone it in a little bit, and thanks for being patient with me while I talk this out. for you seasoned homeschooling folks, do you generally do like all 4 hours in a chunk, or do you do like hour 4 times a day, or 2 and 2? You know what I mean? Like, how do you, I know it depends on the age of the kid. So again, my kiddo is in kindergarten. So in public school, she would go all day. Like she would be there from 8 to 3, 5 days a week, and be entertained. And at home, it wouldn't look like that. So how would you recommend chunking it up, or blocking it out, whatever?
So I'd like to speak into this. So really, especially in kindergarten, first of all, it's not going to take 4 hours a day. I know that that's the state requirement.
Kindergarten isn't required, so in Colorado. So is there a state requirement for it when it's not a required?
You are correct. She was, and you are right. She is speaking into when it's required. There's no schooling required before the age of 7, period. And so, but it sounds to me like that's where you're headed. The main thing that I would recommend to you, Jenny, personally, is being flexible. Being flexible with it and doing smaller chunks. And then, as I say, doing smaller chunks, maybe looking at your day as before lunch and after lunch, and then saying, okay, I want to get this done before lunch. How can I manage that in these smaller chunks? And then I want to get this done with her after lunch. How can I manage that into smaller chunks? And then also speaking into keeping in mind that home educating is not sitting, even if you are trying to meet that 4-hour requirement every single day, you're not sitting down and doing something with your curriculum for 4 hours a day. That's not really how I think any of us seasoned homeschoolers are doing. That's not true. I do know women who do that. But for us, learning happens everywhere. Learning happens when you're cooking. Learning happens when you're grocery shopping. Dennis spoke into that a little bit more, and we are going to topic directly on that. So I hope that helps a little bit. Kimberly or Jenna, do you want to?
Well, in redefining like what it is, like redefining in your mind, you know, oh, this actually is education. This actually is school. This is especially with your kid's age and with the kindergartner. She is learning right now. These are those things that are integrated parts of life that do totally count.
Yes.
You know, unless you are wanting something different, unless she's asking to say, hey, let's sit down and do a workbook, and I want to do a workbook.
Yeah. You know, she does like her workbook that she has now, but we're very loose about it. And thank you for reminding me. I did read that about how they don't have to be in school until 7. So that kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, and that it is kindergarten. It's not like she's a freshman in high school. So that's totally different. So that does take the pressure off and helps me to, you know, remember like what matters most is that I probably sit down with her, you know, a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the afternoon. And we just like trace some lines and, you know, whatever ideas we have. But then in the interim, she's learning so many things as well. So thank you.
And you get to play in that playground this year. It's that fertile ground to go, you know, like, how do I balance the work and this? And then next year, if you do, you know, you continue to be at home in first grade, you know, you kind of go, oh, I didn't like this or this worked. And then you just sort of do more, you know. So
thank
you get
you.
Totally play.
Right. It's really just a baby step process, a little at a time, and you learn. So you guys are just so seasoned and so knowledgeable. I think, how am I ever going to get there? But of course, we all had to start somewhere. So that makes sense.
One thing that I recommend to people sometimes along these lines is not to always think of it as a schedule, because that kind of implies you have to do something by a certain time and be done by a certain time, but more of a routine. And we all probably have more of a routine than you realize, because we all have to eat. And if you have little ones, they probably take a nap. And so you take those, even if it's those two things, and you anchor everything around it. Like, we know that our mailman comes around 12, and because my husband works from home, and it's either catch the mailman or I drive all the packages to the post office. So we like have trained ourselves to know and catch the mailman, right? It's just kind of part of our routine that we've developed. And then, when my kids were younger, when they were in kindergarten and 2, or however that was, we didn't really have much of a routine or schedule because there wasn't a lot of requirements. Like everyone's saying, you don't have to, but I wanted to, and my daughter wanted to. So we did do like plenty, but we just, knowing that you don't have to takes a lot of the pressure off. And when you don't have that pressure, you can build your experience. And then once you have your experiences kind of built, you can find out what works and doesn't work and edit and ebb and flow. And then as they get older, you kind of build onto it and add onto it. And so when you hear somebody who's a seasoned homeschooler say, we do all this and this and this and this, it's like, don't forget that we built onto this after a lot of trial and error and figuring out what works and doesn't work with our kid and our life and the curriculum and everything, So yeah, I don't know. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Thank you. I really appreciate you bringing me back to reality. You think all this stuff and you kind of snowball a little bit. So it's very helpful. Thank you.
And I will post, I was going to post in the group a couple of little graphics that I've made, and I make them to print out and I laminate them and I hang them on the wall for my kids and I refer to them all the time. But I'll share them in the group just so that you guys can see them. And then if it resonates, you can like make your own, or you can use mine if you want to, I don't care. But it's just kind of the visual graphic. And then as you tell everybody, okay, this is going to be what we do, and then you have it hanging up, and then you refer to it a couple of times, and then it becomes second nature, and your kid comes up and says, can I have top of the pyramid? And you can say, nope, you can have it later. It's almost like you have your own whole language that nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's
neat.
That's perfect, Jenna. And I would encourage you guys to definitely explore many different things like that. Jenna's graphics will be perfect as a starting point, but feel free, like ours, I just do ours like on a piece of paper because I don't keep anything because we're typically traveling. So like on a piece of paper in the mornings, I do this fall, I'm going to get more organized like Jenna. But the other thing too that I've been starting to do with, so my girls are 11 and 3. My 11-year-old is really wanting to start like babysitting. And so I'm encouraging her that with her sister, which is like, she's, of course, the sibling rivalry is in full swing. But she is getting better with that. But what I've started doing is if I need alone time like this and they're both here, or even if my oldest is just here, I've started doing a piece of paper on the door that says, if you need anything from mommy and it's not an emergency, please write it down. Because a lot of what my oldest, she gets frustrated because she wants to ask me something and then she forgets. So this is working really well for us. She gets to write it down. She doesn't forget. She's practicing her writing. Another bonus. And some days I walk out and there's a ton of things. And some days I walk out and there's none. But it's really empowering her to remember those things and to not interrupt as well. So that's just another idea. And I'm going to start a thread or in the group where we can throw out these ideas, these simple ideas, and where Jenna can post these graphics, or anyone else can post these graphics. Hey, this worked really well today. And then the next day, oh, that didn't work at all. Just being flexible with it as well.
I think you spoke to something which I think is really important, is to check in with the kids too and say, what's working for you in this and what isn't working for you in this? Because if they've got something that's giving them angst, but they don't voice it, and then like if your 11-year-old, her angst was, I have all these things and I keep forgetting them, but they're never voiced, then it's, I don't like when mommy goes to work. But it's not really, I don't like when mommy goes to work. It's that, oh, I have this thing and I forget that, right? So if we don't find out what their concerns are or what they need are, like at the underneath the root level, then it can make the whole situation a problem. When the whole situation isn't the problem, it's just this one piece. But now they've clarified, okay, just go write it down so you don't forget, right? So it could be something else. Especially for our younger ones. I get really, really hungry and I can't reach the snacks. Okay, so then we know that when I go on to my call or whatever, we need to have snacks available, or we need to have the paper for you to write this down available. Or if you get done with this project, you have your device and you have free time available. So we're really making sure that all of their needs are met and that they, so that any underlying issue is taken care of and it doesn't balloon up into affecting your ability to work, right? So they don't associate the two when they're actually a bit separate.
Yes.
Does that land? Does it make land for anyone?
And I want, like, the biggest thing that we can tell any of you who are working from home or trying to get anything done, even alone time, this works for alone time that moms need every single day, right? To stay sane. Is being prepared. Being prepared and involving your children in the whole process.
Yeah. It's life. It's life. It's life schooling, right? It's a whole connected life. Yeah.
Kelly, you've been kind of quiet. Do you have anything that you want to share?
No, I'm just taking it all in. I mean, I'm not working, but I'm always trying to balance between different age groups. So I've got one that needs attention. And so that's my challenge. Like one's hit prodigy and they're having fun with it and they're doing it all by themselves. And then all of a sudden they hit something they can't work through on their own and they're interrupting somebody else's one-on-one time. But we'll get there. It's just a process, right, bud?
Right.
Yeah. And you do too have a job.
Well, okay, not one where I need to be on specific Zoom calls. Like the only away time I need is like when I'm nursing the baby and trying to get him down for a nap. I need everybody to just sit still and be quiet. However that happens, I don't really care. So.
Yeah, but you can use some of those same strategies, right?
Yeah.
You can use the same thing. Like, I don't care what you guys do, I'm having one-on-one time, right? Or whatever strategies that you have when you're nursing, right? Okay, I have to go nurse. Here's your bowl of snacks. I have to go nurse. Here's your prodigy. I have to go nurse. And then that works for other things. I'm working with, this person, this person, this person, and it's sort of the same thing, right? You're just doing a different activity. And probably having your nursling with you though. I don't know. Were you gonna say anything else? No? Okay. All right, guys. Does anyone else have anything they want to speak into before we log off? I know that doesn't really answer all the questions. It's a very, unfolding process, and it's a lot of trial and error, and the ability to say, okay, that didn't work. That didn't work today. And that's okay. What did I learn from it? What can I take from this experience to know I'm going to do it differently tomorrow or this afternoon, right? It's okay to be, there's a lot of that all throughout life, especially for work, but we have a bunch of pressure we put on ourselves to have to get it right. And we put a lot of our pressures to show up a certain way for our clients or our customers or our employer. And then we have expectations of how we're going to show up for our family. And I think, Ashley, you've got someone talking in the background. Maybe that's you.
Oh, it does. Yeah. I was just going to say just any ideas on food, like with being home all the time. Mm-hmm. That's another really big technology in food. So I spend so much, we try to eat very healthy, so it's very expensive. Guys, can you please leave the room? So since COVID anyways, we're spending so much money on food. My kids are hungry all the time. This is something we never really had to deal with before. And so I'm really happy that they're not in school because the food is so horrible at their school. That's like, and the waste and everything, that makes me really happy. But I'm just constantly arguing like, hey, we can't eat all the food. And I used to set out a tray for each of them with 3 snacks. I felt like that was more than enough. And then they sneak food, and then, and then there's just conflict, and I don't like it. It's just, anyway. So if anyone just has any ideas on how to deal with that better than I am.
I know some people set up times, like food is this time to this time, meals are this time to this time, and these are the snacks, and these are the only snacks that are available until the next meal time. And if you go through them, then you go through them. And sometimes we eat because we're bored, especially with COVID going on, because we're home, we're not eating our bodies, we're not running around. It's hot outside. We don't want to go outside, right? So what is that like? Are we drinking enough water, and are we bored? And then, outside of that, then you can set up your meal times or something like that.
So I always recommend, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Ashley, do you want to mute over there real quick? Okay.
So I always recommend I always do fruits and vegetables that are prepared, you can have as many as you want. Like, this is your food that you can go to, that I am never limiting. I'm never going to limit these foods for you. Like, you can eat as many carrots as you want throughout the day. And then I limit like the processed foods or the crackers or things like that. So allowing them to have that space of, okay, I know that there's always food that I can get, right? If I feel hungry, I can go grab some grapes, I can go grab an apple, I can go grab some carrots, some celery stick, whatever that looks like. But I never limit fruits and vegetables for my kids, and I allow them to eat them whenever they want. I know you kind of spoke into that gets expensive. I feel like it fills them up faster because it has they have more fiber. And some of the people know me here, like I'm the fruits and vegetable queen. Like I'm never gonna tell them they can't eat those. So that's what we do in our house. And that's again, being prepared, having those things prepared for them. And then, like you said, setting out a tray for those other things that you want to limit. Like, this is what you get for the day. You can eat them whenever you want. And here are your fruits and vegetables that you can have as many as you want. That's just my 2 cents.
Sometimes my kids use food as a way to not do the things that we sort of hold them accountable for in the house, like the dishes, the unloading the dishwasher. That's their job. All of a sudden they're hungry. It's like at nighttime. It's time to brush your teeth. Nope, I'm hungry. It's time to put on PJs. Nope, I'm hungry. Oh, it's time to do this. Nope, I'm hungry. And so there is some sort of thing going, are you really hungry? Are you bored? Are you avoiding something? And then within that, like what you're saying about these foods, they're yours. Go for it.
And Kimberly, I have that issue with my 3-year-old. And so before any activity we do, we say, do you need any food? Are you still hungry? And it's literally all day long. It's like, we're going to brush your teeth. Do you need any more food? We are leaving to go where? Do you need any more food? And so that kind of alleviates that using it as an excuse, if that helps.
Kelly?
So my kids are a little bit old, like steer steps in age, and some could prepare food and some couldn't. And as soon as COVID hit, I found like if I didn't make everybody a lunchbox first thing in the morning, I would lose my mind. So I make their general lunchbox, which is really heavy on a lot of fruits and vegetables. It's more than they can possibly eat at lunch. And then if they're hungry through the day, they can go get that out of the fridge It has a protein, it has the vegetables, it has pretty much everything except for a dessert. And they can pick and choose what it is they want. And it really kept them out of my hair for that. I need to eat all day, every day, because they never eat at the same time. And it's it's constant, like through the kitchen. You can't even clean the dishes because there's new ones coming up every second. So that helped us a lot.
Do you see this kid asking me for food right now?
Yeah, actually, you're not alone.
Right?
I mean, I hear though that it's expensive. Our food is more expensive than our mortgage, what we spend on food. It is our number one expense. And if I could change that, but as far as their kids always wanting to eat, they're growing too, you know, like there's that as well, you know.
I do the fruit and vegetable thing too, but I don't always make it for them. I make them like peel their own carrot or eat a tomato like an apple and things like that. Partly because I don't really like peeling oranges and getting it under my nails, and I know that's weird, but it's just one of those weird things that I don't like to do. But they like them, so I'm like, here, have at it, and you can do it. And I don't know, I kind of think it gives them a little bit more appreciation for the work behind it, even if it is just peeling a carrot, you know. And sometimes I do it for them. I'm not super mean, but I don't know. It just kind of says, I just say, go get a fruit or vegetable, and then they go and do that for the most part, and they can do it themselves too. I really try and push the independence of it too, in some ways, because I really think kids can do so much more than we give them credit for a lot of times.
Especially babies.
Especially babies, they can do a lot.
Happy baby, happy you proves it.
She's reading parenting books, my old parenting books lately. So her favorite one right now is called Happy Baby, Happy You, and it's
About
I don't know, it's about babies parenting.
That's Living 101.
Oh, she
Awesome.
looks
So-
just like each other.
In a little while, go take your tomato.
Awesome.
You guys
This is like I love talking about nutrition and stuff like that. Another thing, Ashley, too, that you can do, I always empower my children to listen to their bodies. And if you're hungry, you know, listening to your body, but also saying, hey, when you think you're hungry, why don't you have a few sips of water or drink, you know, 4 ounces of water out of your water bottle, and then see if you're hungry after that. And then if you are, then go for it, right? But that encourages more water and encourages them to listen to their body and, as well. So that's just another idea.
I just want to pop in really quick and say that I've got to run because it's 1 o'clock and they're obviously hungry. And so I just wanted to say hi really quick and bye. And it was great chatting. And I posted those graphics in the group. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I will see everybody online or next week.
Thanks,
All right, thank
Jenna.
you, Jenna.
Bye.
Bye. Does anyone else? Oh, Ashley? Oh, no? Okay. Does anyone else have anything they want to speak into or?
All right.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, let's just we don't have all the answers, but we have all the support, you know, and just keep being there for each other. So if you've got ideas or questions or thoughts, post them in the group throughout the week and let's chat.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you everyone for being on, and have an awesome week.